Hello and welcome all to our Parent Teachers Conference on the topic Developmental Delay of Fine Motor Skills in relation to children development and learning. Present with us is our teacher, Ms. Santana, who will give the reasons for the concern as it relates to developmental delays. The parent of the child, Mrs. Grayson, an observer from the department who will present 3 samples of assessment tools, namely checklist, portfolio, and anecdotal record. Additionally, I, the principal, will describe the reasons for the use of the 3 assessment tools. The class support coach will give an account of how often the 3 tools have been used and in the situation of how they are used. An early childhood specialist will clearly highlight some developmental strategies that both teachers and parents can use to support the development of the fine motor skills. The school psychologist will explain the long-term challenges that the child will encounter if the delay is not properly addressed. Hence, before we start this important scenario, I would like to define 2 of the key terms, namely fine motor skills and developmental delay. According to Fisher 2017, fine motor skill is referred to as the function of the smaller muscles that need solid hand-eye coordination. On the other hand, a developmental delay, according to Woolfolk 2012, refers to when a child does not reach his or her developmental milestone, that is achievement, at the expected time. I now take this opportunity to welcome you to our video.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Ms. Grayson, and thank you for joining us for the parent conference meeting this morning.
Good morning, Ms. Santana. Nice to meet you again.
The purpose of the meeting this morning is to share with you some possible developmental delays that I have observed in Jason during class activities.
Thank you for inviting me. I hope we can find some ways to help Jason with this possible developmental delay.
I would like to begin by sharing with you the concerns of some fine motor skills that I have noticed. Now, fine motor skills refer to the functions of the smaller muscles that need solid hand-eye coordination.
Really?
Theorists and researchers found that there is a correlation between fine motor skills and students' ability to function cognitively.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yes. Additionally, what I have observed is that he has been avoiding table activities where we draw pictures and shapes. He also has challenges with writing and forming letters. So at this time, I would like to introduce you to Miss Alexander, who is an independent observer from the Education Department, and she will show you 3 samples of the assessment tools which were used while documenting the observations in the classroom. Miss Alexander.
Mrs. Gleason, it is a pleasure to meet you. And today I will be discussing with you some observations that I have documented with Jason's development with his fine motor skills. Here I have samples of checklists that were used earlier to track his progress in this area. As you can see, there are some skills that he has already attained. However, there are some that he is yet to develop. For instance, he already shows signs of having a preferred hand. In his case is his right hand. And he also is able to build models using building blocks. However, he's yet to cut along a line continuously, color within the lines of a shape, also to copy letters, especially the letters of his name. Now, if you read along, you would see some of the other skills that he is yet to attain. While the information provided here is very brief, you would see more evidence of this in the anecdotal records as well as the portfolio. Now, I wish to emphasize that the skills outlined here are established by child sense development and is also embedded in the learning and performance standards of our curriculum. Now let's take a look at some of the anecdotal records that were documented. Now these would These would bring to light some of the attitudes and behaviors that he exhibited while he engaged in some of the activities in the classroom. Now, in the first anecdotal record, I just briefly jotted down some observations from them. In the first anecdotal record, here he was observed that he was reluctant to begin the activity. That was to trace along a shape, and when he did, he was unable to trace along the line. Now, in the second anecdotal record, Jason shows sign of developing hand-eye coordination as well as the skill of cutting continuously. He was cutting through a Play-Doh model, right? And then he was given a cardstock to cut with jotted lines along it. However, he struggled with that activity. It is through this activity we were able to see that he needed additional support to complete this activity. In the third one, he was also coloring, and I can show evidence of this. You can see that he is way outside of the line. This is an example from his portfolio. He is way outside of the lines of the shape. All right. Now, this is something that we will all have to work on, and in terms of his ability to trace and so, here you can see examples of those. Do you have any questions? Thanks.
Reasons for using the portfolio checklist and anecdotal record. The checklist is an excellent and powerful tool for observing and gathering information about a wide range of students' abilities. It is a list of behaviors for identifying children's skills and knowledge, which enable teachers to observe and easily check off what children know and are able to do. Therefore, as it relates to Jason with the fine motor delayed, the checklist allowed the practitioner to keep a record of his accomplishment as she systematically observed and checked off from the list of behaviors the skills that he can do using his fine motor skills. The teacher used the checklist over a period to continue evaluating his progress and achievement. Cruz 2001 discusses the portfolio as a systematic collection of one's work, which demonstrates children's understanding, abilities, and talents through electronic, oral, and hard copy formats. Using the portfolio as a tool in the classroom provided the opportunity for the practitioner to observe Jason as an independent learner moving along his own pace. The use of the portfolio for classroom observation also allowed Jason to share his growth and learning in ways that express his individuality. The portfolio also allowed the practitioner and the student to focus on the process and not the achievement. For instance, the portfolio encouraged self-reflection in Jason. This means that it encouraged Jason to think and to see his progress, which in turn provided him with confidence and encouragement to take risk. Hence, he was coloring a shape with the colors outside the shape during week 1. In week 2, there was some form of improvements. Therefore, he was able to observe and assess his own work. The anecdotal record are factual, non-judgmental notes of children activities. They are most useful for recording spontaneous events. Anecdotal record during classroom observation tell the practitioner how the behavior happened, when and where it happened, and what was done in order to provide rich detail about the child. Using anecdotal record to observe Jason provided to the practitioner naturalistic, detailed, and meaningful information about the child's physical development. This in turn was ideal for the practitioner to plan an emergent curriculum that provided ways to enhance Jason's skills in all developmental domains and provided useful ways to track his development over time.
Good day, Ms. Grayson. As a class support coach, I know all of this information may seem overwhelming, but we as a staff strive our very best to ensure that we fully informed our parents of any delays we may observe in our students, and we share them with our parents so that as a team, we can assist each child and their family. The assessment tools that Ms. Santana used with Jason were portfolio, checklists, and anecdotal records. Now, as Ms. Phillip has discussed with you the definition and purpose of these tools, I will inform you about how each tool was used in order for us as a team to conclude that Jason has a delay in fine motor skill and provided him with the much needed assistance. Don't worry, Miss Grayson, he's in good hands. Portfolio. Portfolio was used while Jason was engaged in an activity with Miss Santana. And as you saw, she had to assist him in tracing his letters. That wasn't a problem, for he started to improve. No worries there, Miss Grayson, for in the next picture, we saw that Jason was successful in manipulating a scissors and correctly cutting around some circles. Miss Santana used this form of assessment for a month with Jason to allow him time to develop his hand-eye coordination, which was successful. Secondly, she used a checklist. This was used during and after a pencil gripping activity for a month, whereby Jason had to show us how he can hold his pencil firmly in his hand and draw lines as well as to write his name. Thirdly, anecdotal records was used, and again, this is another assessment tool that was successful in helping us strategize a plan of action for Jason. Using this assessment, while Jason proceeded to make a tower with building blocks, showed how persistent he was to complete this activity. Although he had a little difficulties, he was successful in the end through support and encouragement from Miss Santana. So each activity that Jason was involved in with free play during anecdotal records was used to observe him. This was also used for a month in arts activity while he was painting. Jason had difficulties using his jumbo crayons to trace some circles. Nevertheless, seeing this, Miss Santana went and assisted him immediately by helping him drawing some circles in the mid-ear with his fingers and then on paper with his crayons. Although the lines were broken, he is making an improvement. Not to worry, Miss Grayson. Again, all observations for a month were conducted for a month, and they were used during each activity that Jason was involved in with his peers and his teachers. A big thank you to Miss Santana for having a keen eye. Thank you for sharing this information about Jason with me. I really didn't know that. So, what methods do you have in mind that we can use to help Jason?
Well, based on the challenges that Ms. Santana is experiencing with Jason's developmental delay, and from what I have also observed, I will suggest some strategies that you as a parent can use with Jason to help with his development. Now, according to effective research, there are strategies that can be used to assist with Jason's development of his fine motor skills. Now, let us use these strategies for the reason for concern. Firstly, we know that Jason has difficulties grasping small objects. To help with this delay, you can give him spray bottles to spray paint poster boards. He can also use manipulation games such as Connect 4 or Pick Up Sticks. Secondly, he has poor hand-eye coordination, such as scribbling on paper, building with blocks, or even lacing patterns. Now, I would also suggest that he string beads, do lacing, or put puzzles together, which would have a variety of different sizes. And these activities can help his finger and hand coordination. Thirdly, Jason also avoid activities like drawing or doing other things with shapes by himself. Now I would suggest that
He used jumbo crayons, and emphasis must be placed on going from left to right. Fourthly, Jason has challenges writing, such as forming letters, which is a big one. And in order for him to get help with this development of his writing skills, as a parent, you can set up an easel in your house and give him crayons and markers to practice. And the practice must be from left to right or even going vertically. And our last concern is that Jason has difficulties cutting along straight lines or even curved lines too. Now have Jason practice cutting out shapes or different pictures, and these shapes can be squares or circles. I now introduce you to our school psychologist, Miss Douglas, who will enlighten you about the long-term effects if this situation of Jason's fine motor skills is not addressed.
Good morning, Ms. Grayson. I am Elizabeth Douglas Serapio, the school psychologist. I have reviewed Jason's record and would like to speak to you on some challenges students like Jason, who has fine motor delays, can encounter if there's no intervention and left untreated. I am not saying that Jason will experience these issues. I am mentioning them for you to have the knowledge to assist you in making educated and informed decisions that will benefit both yourself and Jason. Jason may compare himself academically with other children in his class, which could cause him to develop psychological problems such as low self-esteem and anxiety. This can further lead to behavioral problems such as fighting and other aggressive behaviors, sometimes completing self-care tasks such as dressing himself, tying his shoelaces, buttoning clothes, belts, also eating, using cutleries, and hygienic tasks, for example, cleaning teeth, brushing or combing hair, toileting, can become a challenge. From my interaction with Jason and teachers' reports, Jason is a very intelligent child, and we all want what is best for him. I do not want to alarm you, but some fine motor delays can be a predictor of a health issue such as autism, nerve and muscles disorder. That is why we are taking the proactive approach and would like to refer Jason to visit Dr. Singh to check his muscles and conduct further testing to obtain a more accurate diagnosis. I am looking forward of working with you and Jason to ensure that he successfully accomplishes his full potential. At this time, is there any question you'd like to ask? Okay then, I'll see you and Jason at our next follow-up meeting.
Thank you. I now understand and I will try my best to use some of these strategies at home to help Jason with his fine motor skills delay. I'm looking forward to working with you. Thank you once again, Ms. Santana.